Ladies and gentlemen, oh what a week it has been over here on the channel. Welcome back everyone to a brand new episode of CASTIF, which stands for cool ass shit that I found this week. So I wanted to go ahead and make another video of this. I'm trying to make it like a bi-weekly thing where we just kind of check in and talk about the things that are ongoing in different games that I'm not really playing. And also just what's been going on with me as well. I've been trying my damnedest to try and get a video up every day the last little while, and it's actually been going pretty well. Streams have fallen to the wayside because of it, and I felt like very like nauseous over time as well, but that is unfortunately how this kind of loop that I go in tends to go. So I'm trying to figure out how to get it all sorted and make it work well, and I think I'm starting to get there. I think that starting next week, I'm hopefully going to be able to hit like a better stride. Just got some new work stuff to take on this week, including 2 new DBT groups and a Chaos to Calm group, of which are very different from what I've done in the past. We did some trainings around it. DBT stands for Dialectic Behavioral Therapy. So it's very much a style of therapy done inside a group where you study skills to be able to create better routines. Examples of this is like trying to get your chores done in a day without feeling like you're overwhelmed by how much you need to get done. Looking at like things as less black and white. So either it's completely done and finished or it's not done at all. And having to get that project done in one night, trying to work on that. Planning one pleasant event for yourself every day, something that can build resilience within you. All of these things are like incredible skills that come alongside DBT. So I've been enjoying being able to catch back up on it. And also being so caught in your feelings all the time makes it so that it's really hard to kind of take calls to action to do the things you want to. So I'm doing my best, trying to kind of rock through things, and that's kind of where I've been. But there's been a lot of updates to the games I play as well over this last couple of weeks. So I wanted to talk about some things that are being added to the games that I play, being changed about the games that I play, new collaborations, and 2 games that I've played in the past closing. So let's go ahead and get into it, and it should be a wonderful day. Let's go! Now, we'll be starting today with a couple of One Piece Bounty Rush trailers. These dropped over the last week or so, and they came out after the anniversary. So these are our new Bounty Festival characters. We got a Prime Whitebeard and a Prime Garp. We'll be starting with Whitebeard here. But honestly, these characters look absolutely sick. So first of all, that's the OG Whitebeard. That's kind of a jobber. But the brand new one has wonderful golden locks and power to destroy all. He's also kind of nutso in terms of his traits. If you do play One Piece Bounty Rush, you'll notice that like him inflicting tremor on his normal attacks, him having that charge attack where he punches like all the way out, and his second being like that big explosion right there, makes it so that he is a very dominant force. I want to say this especially. Making it so that his normal attacks are a stun is really fucking good. Rogers can't handle it at all. You can see here he's charging up Rogers all the way over there, and yet it still ends up hitting from that far away. Very good unit. But honestly, out of the 2 that we got, because he's a green attacker, he'll be the one that survives less long in the lifespan of the game. He is still really cool though. But with Roger being the EX that they released that was a green attacker, there's not going to be a lot of grounds for Whitebeard being like the best units in the game. He is really cool though. And definitely if you want to cut down your Roger usage, Whitebeard's a great option. But this character, this Garp, is insane. I didn't expect him to be as good as he was. They're doing a little reversal thing here as well, which I find to be really cool effects. And rolling it back to his prime, when he actually had color in his hair, and his suit was black and cool. He kind of has a Sanji shirt though. But he has a very basic normal attacks. He has the big punch forward, And then he has this giant like swing chain ball thing, which by the way is just incredible. But most of the reason why he's so good is because of his traits inside the game. He's a red defender, so he'll very much do well against the greens that are inside the game right now. But he also has a trait which is 30% extra damage to captains. And what that means is most characters like Luffy's, Rogers, Shanks, Blackbeards, all of those really, really relevant units that aren't in the Navy are captains a lot of the time. Captains typically are the higher end inside this game just because of how crazy they usually are. The only character I can think of that's in the meta right now that isn't a captain is like CP0 Lucci comes to mind, Dressrosa Zoro, Odin I guess counts as well. But he'll have a really good trait against that. But he also has this ability with his skills where he'll extend enemy skill cooldowns when he hits with his skills. And so it makes it so that he's able to delay the enemies a lot better. It's very similar to the smoker on the right side, actually. But he also has like some of the highest survivability in the game right now, and 2 attacks that are really, really hard to dodge because of how fast their hitboxes are. Like this attack right here is almost instantaneous. It's honestly kind of nuts though. And the second one, I've gotten good dodges on it so far, but it still is ending up being a big threat. He's going to be a character that's going to be relevant for a long time. And honestly, he's probably the closest to being EX tier in the game right now. He's one of the only red defenders that really is someone you would debate using over Blackbeard because of his passives, which is really good. It's been a full year of Blackbeard, so great stuff. Bounty Rush dropping some cool units. And it's very likely that Bounty Rush is going in a direction where every character is power scaled to the point where it's basically pointless if you don't have like the newest like 10 units in the game, which is kind of scary. After second anniversary, I am kind of worried about that, but we'll see how things keep on going. I'm playing less Bounty Rush now with Rogers everywhere, so that's kind of a project of the times, but we'll see. Yeah, that's about all I wanted to cover on Bounty Rush. Here we have a collab announced for Exos Heroes. This game is honestly some of the cooler like graphics out there right now. It's really stylish. It has like a really cool like cell shaded style to it, so it makes a lot of sense to collab alongside Tales of Vesperia, but like holy shit, they're actually like high enough quality where I want to say look better than the Xbox 360 version. Just super cool. I also love these characters because Yuri's whole thing is protecting his own sense of justice, which is rad. I wouldn't have picked Flynn though. I think Flynn is like the easy go-to inside Vesperia, but I would have loved to get like, oh god, what's his name? Carl? Is that his name? Carol. Carol's like the little kid with like a big hammer. I would have loved to get a copy of him, but naturally the hype is mostly in the knights. But hey, Exos Heroes is doing some cool stuff. I don't personally play the game. I'm probably not going to because I played like the first like 3 hours of it and really wasn't feeling the gameplay at all. So still quite cool that they have collabs like this. There's not a lot of tales going around right now, so I'm very happy to see this. Good stuff. What's actually next? I think next might be Kickflight? Yeah, okay. So this game here, I wanted to show off some gameplay of the now closing Kickflight, because this is a game that I tried out a little while ago. It's gonna be closing on the 22nd of March, so it is coming up very, very soon. This was one of the cooler ideas for a game. I think a lot of the problems that happened, I'm just gonna let it play out here because this is just like a gameplay of the actual game itself. It seems like it's having some quality issues, but that's fine. But it came out in the middle of a ton of events and other games, including I think Dokkan's anniversary. And so not a lot of people picked it up, and honestly the controls were very hard to kind of get in the habit of. Basically, you run around the map, you fly around it, and you control it by looking up and down, and you collect these crystals. You then store these crystals at your original base to power it up and get it stronger, and people can break that base to get every crystal you put into it. So a lot of the time it's focusing on defending, watching your map, flying around the area to get all of the crystals that haven't been picked up yet, and then using your ultimates to try and like destroy the enemy base or fight the enemy characters. This player is actually pretty good. He's just kind of like vibing around here. Let's see if we can get into an encounter at all. Yeah, so you can see here, they just kind of auto attack, and you have 4 different special abilities you can use, as well as an ultimate your character actually has. And you're just kind of defending what you can as you go at it. Honestly, this gameplay wasn't a great pick, but I just want to show off kind of what it was like up to this point. I did find it pretty fun. I found for myself a lot of the problem was just not being able to understand what like characters were especially great, but that's mostly a symptom of the community not being big enough. And I think over time, I just kind of watched the subreddit as it slowly got less and less popular. But it was very cool, and I do really like the style. I feel like if it had a better franchise behind it, like what if this was an Attack on Titan game, for example, right? Where they're constantly shooting out like the swing and hooks on the 3D maneuver gear to be able to get around the area. I feel like people probably would have picked it up a lot faster, and it probably would have been a lot more popular. But unfortunately, it did make it only so far. I actually wonder, Kickflight's release date. When did it come out? 2019. So yeah, it lasted roughly about 2 years in total then, which is kind of unfortunate. The actual release date globally was the 15th of February 2020. So that's almost like 1 full year of service in global markets, which isn't great, but that is just a product of the times. It was a really cool game, and it's really sad to see it go. I just wanted to celebrate it because I do think it's one of the better ones that were out there. And honestly, it's kind of sick. But that is going to be it for right now. Actually, if you see the gameplay, this was released the day after the game came out. That's really funny. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Unfortunately, one more game to get going, but hey, it was cool. We're going to go ahead and hop on next to the Dragon Ball Legends. I mostly just wanted to touch on this to talk about the new game mode they're releasing. So Tokyo Ghoul Reinvoke, I'm just going to turn this down very quiet and let this play out. Tokyo Ghoul Reinvoke had a style of kind of auto chess by the name of Conflict. And so now that Reinvoke is gone, other games kind of have their own auto chesses, and they have like their own auto versions of it. But this is pretty one-to-one what Conflict was. You play 6 characters anywhere in a 3x3. Everyone has different abilities based on where they're put, different boosts based on who they're next to, and a lot of the time you're trying to work on a lot of characters to be able to use them inside here. But it'll always be 6-on-6 teams. You can see here the board is going to be a little bit more interesting than Conflict was at the very least. There's like buffs and there's different types of fights, and you're always moving forward. But if we go ahead, where's the actual other screenshot? Yeah, so there's all this where it's like the layout bonus, you get extra abilities based on how you put the characters in. So that's very similar to how Conflict worked. One second, there's also one more screenshot I remember seeing inside here. Yeah, here it is. So you'll be watching your characters auto-playing the board by yourself. I'm just gonna drag this over here. And the entire time, you're not gonna be able to input anything into the game. They'll just kind of let you autoplay, and it'll go in a turn-based type of system, letting every one of your characters give their abilities to the main one and trying to buff them. When I look at this game mode, I see something incredibly boring of which no one is going to want to grind at any point ever. And I wish that these styles of game modes would stop being released, because while it could be acted as if it's a type of content, it's not a game you play. And auto games do have their precedence on why people enjoy them. But trying to make a game mode entirely based on powering up your units so they can auto things for you and do things outside of your control to be able to beat the enemies, and fighting Zenkai 7 teams, sounds miserable. So I really don't know about this. We'll see what they do with it. In Legends, I think this is gonna be kind of miserable and honestly one of the worst game modes released so far. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And it's just because I've seen other games that do it, and I haven't seen one that does it well, or at least makes it so that you're involved enough in the process after you hit the start button. Because the start button should be some sort of call to action to do something, but instead it's going to be just an auto button to let your characters do this random game mode they're releasing. But it's coming out during spring. That's cool. It'll be out at some point. Oh, give me one sec. But yeah, so I just had a small little break. So this game mode is going to be released sometime in spring. So we'll see how it goes. I'll probably do a video on it, whether it's as bad as I assume it to be. But we'll kind of see as time goes forward. Aside from that, hey everybody, did you like Broly Second Coming? I didn't really. The village thing was kind of weird. It was a strange subplot. Videl's outfit was very strange. But you know what? This Broly's sick as fuck. I like it better than the like super buff Broly, honestly. I think he'll also have a special strike cover change, and he buffs HP to powerful opponents. So he'll be pretty relevant for at least a little while, I want to say. Especially with the HP buff. The reason Super Saiyan God Goku is still relevant to this day is because of the HP and the critical buff. So we'll kind of see how this goes. He's like a tiny version of the blue Broly they released recently. He also gets that attack boost whenever he uses the strike card, but he'll just be okay. We'll see when that comes out at some point. I think that's like today or sometime very soon on a Legends All-Star banner. But yeah. That's actually the end of the stuff I wanted to show you guys for today. You know, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff that's going on there. Aside from that, I do have two more things I wanted to show off, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull that on. So, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross Dark Road. So they released a second version of Kingdom Hearts Union Key or Union Cross very recently, called Dark Road, which involved the story of Xehanort when he was young. And this game is very, very relevant to the main Kingdom Hearts story. And so this is them announcing that they'll be finishing off the story very, very soon. It'll be concluding in April. And the official end of service will be on May 30th, 2021. So I feel like they were probably stuck into making this game until they hit the end of the story because it was that important. But I believe this will be the JP version hitting the end of the story. I don't think the actual English version is all the way up to that point yet. But hopefully they get there by the end of the session. Luckily, they will be releasing, which I've never seen for another game, but they have to for Kingdom Hearts Union Cross because it's relevant to the main story. They're releasing an offline version of the game, of which you can see that you can use the jewels, but you can't buy any more jewels. But for the offline version, they'll be having it free to download and install anytime, and you can slowly work through the story and learn it over your own time without having to have the pressure of having microtransactions in the first place. They'll have the story mode in theater mode here, which is quite cool. The old game modes will all be available. Every keyblade will be available, regardless of what you owned previously. And then they'll, so first of all, this comes out when the end of service happens. And then they'll be updating the offline version again at the end of September to give it a couple of extra little tidbits. Story will be unlocked until the ending, so I think that means it actually won't be available on the English version until then. But this is actually really cool. I haven't seen a lot of offline versions of gacha games released like this, so I'm very happy they're doing this for Unchained Key. It had a very rocky history. I think that there were a lot of times where it ebbed and flowed out of people's rotation of games they played. But honestly, if it wasn't for power creep, it would have been a very high quality game. And I'm excited to see what they do at the end of the story. I'm probably going to watch the translations of the end of the story just so I can learn about it for the next Kingdom Hearts game, because we'll see how that works, but expect some more videos on that at some point closer to when the offline version drops. Because I'll probably end up covering that just to try and take a look at it and see what the new standard should be, because I feel like that should be the standard for any closing gacha game. Imagine if Reinvoke was still around in an offline version, you know? But yeah. I got one final thing to share with you guys for today, and then we'll go ahead and end off. So this is the final thing I wanted to show today. This is the Shironeko, I think it's Shironeko Project, Jujutsu Kaisen collaboration. So we talked about this in the first CASTIF I ever did. They had a Konosuba collab, which was quite cool. But we haven't had a Jujutsu Kaisen collab on any game that I currently play whatsoever just yet. And honestly, they look absolutely incredible. I think that these guys are probably going to have their own game in no time whatsoever. The cast, like base for Jujutsu Kaisen within the first 26 episodes, I would say is enough to sustain a game for at least a year. You could release 4 different Itadoris, for example, and they would all be relevant. OG Sukuna, Heart Sukuna, first version of the Fist, Black Flash, Gojo would be absolutely incredible. So this is definitely the first step towards that, and they look absolutely beautiful. I don't personally play Shironeko Project. This makes me want to. I'm not gonna lie to you, they all look absolutely sick. I have to watch the newest episode still, actually. But I've read the manga. I know Gojo's gonna do some cool ass shit, so that's pretty good. But yeah, if you haven't played Shironeko Project and you like Jujutsu Kaisen, maybe you'll reroll on that and see if you can get a copy of your Megumi Fushiguros. But that's about all I got for today. No anime clip in this episode. I haven't really found anything that like stood out to me as something I should show you guys, but I'm gonna keep on keeping on. Hopefully in 2 more weeks we'll be able to do another video like this. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened this week, honestly, and with the new work stuff, like, I've felt like this week has just been rushing by non-stop. I'm hoping to try and get like a better foundation going. I would say in terms of posting on YouTube though, we've been doing really well for ourselves. And so I'm gonna try to keep that going as we continue to push forward. Hey, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys on some more videos very soon of some other very interesting stuff. So thank you so much. And I'll see you guys then. Bye everybody, and see you guys on the next one.